Hello students, welcome to Btech360. We've been doing a series on all the state examinations that you have and some of the best colleges that some of these states have, which possibly are not covered through the JOSA counseling. But in my opinion, because they also have an opening for the non-state students, it is very good for you to also keep an eye on these colleges. What we're doing now is a series. Like we've done something on MSRIT where there are some of the best colleges in Maharashtra we talked about, which are private colleges affiliated to the different state universities in Maharashtra, but also take students from outside of the Maharashtra. Similarly, what we're going to cover now is about those colleges in Karnataka, especially in Bangalore, which are very, very good. And some of them are far better than even NITs and IIITs and even IITs for that matter. But it's extremely competitive, but you can still keep an eye on them and see if you can actually get admission into those colleges. By the way, many of these colleges also have management quota, but it's still merit-based because they accept it through Comet K examination or the KCET examination, or some of them also accept through the JOSA, through rather JEE scores in that sense, right? Because they're all private colleges affiliated to the VTU, which is Visvesvaraya Technology University, but in a large sense, they also have some kind of seats that are booked or reserved for those people who have great merit but come from outside the state of Karnataka. I'm going to talk of 5 colleges which are the best in KCET. Their essential examination is KCET examination, but moving beyond that, they also accept, as I said, from other examinations also. You must keep an eye on them. And I'll tell you why we are talking about these colleges, right? Before I move further, please subscribe to Btech360 if you've not already done that. It's very important for us to know that you actually are benefiting from the kind of work that we do, and that will keep us motivated and keep doing the good work that we do. Thank you so much. Right. So now talking of top 5 engineering colleges except in KCET. KCET is Karnataka Common Engineering Test. So this is the examination we're talking of. We'll talk of the 5 colleges through the placement statistics, the cutoff that you need to be able to get into those colleges, and we essentially, whenever we talk of it, the cutoff now, we're talking of open category only, mind you. There are reserved categories. We're not talking of that because that makes the entire thing very elaborate. Just to give you an indication of the kind of quality of intake that they have, and correlating that with the kind of placement that these institutions actually offer. A counseling session for all students. So if you want to know more about how you can use your ranking to get into the best college out there, please register for the counseling session. There's a link below this video that you can actually go and register, and you can actually attend a counseling session with us where you will be able to ask questions and we'll be able to respond to you. So we want to ensure that you get into the best college based on your score, and that is why we are doing this, and we'll keep doing this for the next few days till each of you get into the best college based on your score, merit and everything. I must also thank our university partner, University of Aberdeen, which was established in 1495 in United Kingdom. They set up a campus in Mumbai, and they're offering BSc in computer sciences and also in data sciences. There are 2 undergrad programs that they're offering. So you would also want to look at that. And by the way, when you register for this counseling session, we'll also be giving you a few links of some of the colleges that would be happy to have you admitted with them, and we'll also be possibly giving you some links where the application fee also becomes next to nothing. It might be 0 also for all that you know, because we want to ensure that you benefit from the kind of conversation that we have with you. Now about this particular thing, I also talked of the Online Counseling Connect 2026. We are doing it for KCET separately. You just need to register, and we'll be happy to have a conversation where you can join a webinar on that particular day where you can ask questions, and we'll be happy to answer that for you, right? The first of these colleges is RV College, of course. The great Rahul Dravid and all have studied here, Srinath. Many of those ex-cricketers have studied in RV College of Engineering, by the way. This was established in 1963. The reason why it is so big and so popular is established in 1963. So imagine this, we're talking about 63 years of legacy. What happens when you have a 63 years of legacy is that a lot of your alumni would be all over the country, all over the world. And those people always invariably come back to the alma mater to start recruiting. So the older an institution, the greater the chances that you will actually have better placement opportunities, because the students will be spread across the globe, across the country, across the state, and so on and so forth. And they will invariably normally come back to their alma mater to start recruiting. And also the college also keeps approaching their alumni to ensure that there is some kind of a help and support for their students to get better placement. 63-year-old institution would always have a better opportunity. It's an autonomous institution under a university, which is a state university. It's spread over 17 acres of land. They have totally 5,050 students between all the 4 years that we're talking of. And we're talking of only UG 4 years, by the way, of which 75% are boys and 25% are girls. Right. And about 28%, 29% students come from outside the state, which is where I'm talking about that when you actually have students, we talked of KCET by the way, But we're also talking of 29% students coming from outside the state, which is through the COMEDK route, through the JEE route, or whatever. So they will always have opportunities for you to get into RV College of Engineering through multiple pathways that they would have created, and that you must keep an eye on. And 72%, 71% students come from outside the state, within the state, right? And about 362 faculty for this 5,050. So we are essentially talking of about 13 to 14 students per faculty is what the faculty-student ratio is. It's a very old building. If you notice this, you will understand that. By the way, you must remember, this RV College of Engineering is different from RV University. Both are owned by the same founders. But RV College of Engineering is affiliated to the state university, whereas RV University is a separate university, it's a separate legal entity, and that is not to be confused with RV College of Engineering. And RV University now also has a Mysore campus. So again, I'm saying, be very clear of what we're talking of. We're talking of RV College of Engineering, which is based in Bangalore now, and not RV University, which is based in Bangalore. By the way, RV University also is a decent university. I'm not taking it away from them. But this conversation is only for RV College of Engineering. Now, why do we recommend this university? You look at this placement here for the year 22-23, for which we have data. Now 23-24 also we'll start trying to get that, and I'll show you that data also as we go along. But this is the data that we have from the Government of India, NRF. We're talking of NRF 2024 is what we're talking of, where the institution submitted this data. And the data doesn't change dramatically over the year. So that's the reason why it is still relevant. They have an intake of 1,060, but including the first year lateral recruitment that happens, they have an intake of 1,145. Of this 1,145, 1,072 students actually graduated, right? Of this 1,072, 810 students were placed, and 95 students opted for higher studies. So between these two, we're talking about 905 students out of 1,072 have found their calling. And so the placement is 83%. And the median salary is 10 lakh rupees. And it's been growing 8 lakh, 8.5 lakh, 10 lakh rupees. Remember, it's a state college. This 10 lakh kind of a median salary at 83% is far better than many of the NITs, many of the IIITs, and many of the GFTs for sure. And that is the reason. And it's been very consistent. We're talking of 83%, 80% kind of a placement across the board when you notice this whole thing. And the quality of intake also is very, very good. By the way, continuing the placement thing, for the year 25, when we looked at it, 262 companies. Remember, it's based in Bangalore, so it always has an advantage of companies within Bangalore trying to reach out to the college. And this being the best college out there, it would obviously get most of the companies. So 262 companies have visited this campus for placement purposes. 922 offers were made in 2025, and 830 students were selected. And last year's average salary was not 8.5 but 13.76 lakh. This is from the company's website. We're talking about this, right? 13.76 lakh, and the maximum salary that a student got was 67 lakh rupees. And as I keep telling you, you can also get into RV College of Engineering through the COMEDK examination, which is meant for the non-state students, non-Karnataka students, and take an examination. And not just RV College, you all actually have a pathway to get into some of the better colleges in Karnataka, because there you don't get straight away into the college. You go take the COMEDK examination, get into the merit list, and from there you get on to the Karnataka colleges, right? So here it is, 13.76 lakh, close to 14 lakh rupees. Now think about it. How many colleges of NITs, IIITs and all would offer a 14 lakh kind of an average salary across the board for 830 students that we're talking about? That is the reason why it's up there. And why is it that these kind of offers come in? You look at the kind of quality of merit that we're talking of. KCET has a few lakh students taking the examination. The highest general merit list for BE Computer Science Engineering is 499, which means that at a total rank that you're talking of, which is of the number of students, a few lakh students who are taking the examination, you need to be the highest closing rank to get into CSE is 499, which is right up there, right? For BE Data Science, it's 944. For BE Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning, it's 742. For BE Cybersecurity, it's 990. For BE Electronics and Communication, it's 1100. And for BE Electronics and Telecommunication Engineering, it's 1507. So essentially, you need to be about 99 percentile student to get into any of these programs. And if you get anything less than 98 percentile, you don't stand a chance. When you actually have the quality of students to be so good, obviously companies will come in, obviously there will be better offers made, and of course it's based in Bangalore, so it always has an advantage. which is the reason why we're recommending this particular college. It's RV College of Engineering in Bangalore. Now, the next one is PES University. Now, PES University, it's a separate university, but they also take students from KCET and JEE Main. They used to also have a PESAT examiner, which is PES, aptitude test kind of a thing. But they also accept from KCET and JEE Main. We're talking of KCET at this point in time. That's why it figures in here. No, this is a separate university. By the way, at some point in time, even the Azim Premji University used to be based out of this place till they found their own campus. But this is what we're talking, established in 1972. So again, we look at it, 54 years old. Right? No, as I keep saying, when an institution is very old, you will actually have better chance of failing, of placement. Sorry, not failing. Getting placed, because your alumni is all over the place and they keep coming back to the alma mater to recruit, and the college also, reach out to the alumni to get their students placed. So internship, capstone projects, placements all become slightly easier. It's a private deemed to be university. Campus size is 30 acres. Total students is 7,334. 62% are boys, and we are talking of now UG 4 years only, by the way, and 38% are girls, right? And 38% students come from outside the state. So that is what you are. You actually are dealing with about 40% of the students coming from outside the state, and that is where you can sneak in and be a part of this university. 58.7% come from within the state, and 3% come from outside the country also, which are NRIs and other countries, right? And the faculty is 497, which essentially means that we're dealing with 1:15 kind of a student-faculty ratio. Now, what is the placement we have? And this is from the NRF of 2025. The intake was 1,560 in the year, which is 4 years back. For 23-24, we should be dealing with 1920 intake is what we're talking about. Admitted, including lateral, is 1,669. 1,567 students passed out or graduated. Of this, 1,320 students were placed, and 239 students opted for higher studies. And the placement is 99.6%, almost close to 100%. Because you need to add 132, 232, 239 who also opted for higher studies, which means they were not a part of the placement process completely. We're dealing with about 1,552 or something like that. Only about 13-14 students were not placed, 99.6% placement. And the median salary is 12.47 lakh rupees. So 100% placement, almost 100% placement, about 12.5 lakh rupees kind of a salary is what PES University will guarantee you. Not guarantee you, but that's been the performance, right? Now, when you look back at this data and talk of what is the quality of student intake that it is having, again, the highest open closing rank is 1,654. Even at a high, such a high intake, the highest closing rank for CSE is 1,654, which means you're getting the best of the best. Again, 99 percentile plus is what you need. Is what you need to be getting into PES University for CSE branch. For BTech Computer Science and Engineering, AI and Machine Learning, it's 2,694. For BTech Electronics and Communication Engineering, ECE, it's 3,765. For BTech Electrical and Electronics Engineering, it's 8,400. For BTech Mechanical, it's 15,958. Right. So essentially, you need to be a 99 percentile to be getting into these two branches, and then 98 percentile or something for you to get into something else. Now, the next one is Ramaiah Institute of Technology, which is again a college. We're talking of NRF data 2025, established in 1962. So again, this has about 64 years kind of a legacy, right? 66 years, sorry. It's an autonomous college, 85 acres of land, 4,840 students in the UG 4-year batch, right? Of which 65% are boys, 35% are girls, and 38% of the students come from outside the state of Karnataka. 38% students come from outside the state of Karnataka. Within the state is about 60%, and about 2.5% students come from outside India. Again, it's so aspirational that students from outside the country also come in to study in this place. And there are 400 faculty size. So when you deal with that, it's 1:12 kind of a faculty-student ratio, which is very, very good. Because typically it's 1:15 is what is mandated. And why do we recommend Ramaiah College? You must look at the kind of placement data that they have. They have very high intake. 1,080 students is the intake that they have in the first year. of which 1096 students were admitted including lateral recruitment, right? They also have admit students laterally, of which 1075 students graduated, 787 were placed, 195 moved for higher studies, which is about 90% placement. So the placement rate in Ramaiah is 90% and median salary of 7.5 lakh rupees, which is a decent number for the kind of high placement that we're talking of, because mind you, in this now you will also have the core engineering and not just IT and CS and all, but even core engineering, right? Which is the reason why it comes down to 7.5 lakh. But if you look at some of the branches now, it will go up to 15-20 lakh rupees also, right? And if you look at the highest closing rank, this is very important for you to understand the quality of intake that it has, because remember, KCET has a few lakh students take the examination. For CSE, the highest closing rank was 2076, which means we're dealing with 99 percentile plus, right? And same thing with BE Computer Science with AI and ML, 2791. For BE Information and Engineering, it's 3196. For BE Artificial Intelligence, it is 3429. For BE Electronics and Engineering, it is 4080. And by the way, for students who are not from Karnataka, you can come through COMET-K also, and we'll do a separate video on the COMET-K examination also as we move along, of what kind of college is accepted and what are the kind of ranks that you need to be succeeding into getting into any of these colleges. But also remember, for students who are coming through KCET, the fee is different, and for students who are coming through COMET-K, the fee is very different, right? Now, the next one we are talking of is BMS College of Engineering, which is again based in Bangalore, established in 1946. So, if you just imagine, we're dealing with about 70 years of legacy, 80 years of legacy, sorry, 80 years of legacy. It's a private college spread over 15 acres, 6,960 is the total intake students on the campus at this point in time who are pursuing UG 4-year programs. 68% are boys, 32% are girls. 19% of the students come from outside the state, or 20%, 19.7%, and about 6% students come from outside the country also. So between those things, we're dealing with about 26% students coming from outside the state, of which 6% students come from outside the country also, which is the pathway that we're talking of, which is very important for you to know, because while it's a very, very good college, they also ensure that students from outside the state also come in, so that there's greater diversity and better quality of students that are coming in, right? And how is the placement here? In 23-24, based on the NRF data, which is Government of India data, 1,440 was the total intake that they had, and including lateral, it's 1,554. 1,417 students graduated. 924 students were placed. 100 students were moved for higher studies. The placement percentage is 70% at a median salary of 8.5 lakh. Again, I repeat, this includes all the students, 1,440, including all the branches that you have in the thing. If you look at certain of the branches, it will be 15 lakh, 12 lakh, and those kind of things. Of course, in core, it comes down. The issue that we have in many of the other, reporting that we have is that people don't report some of the branches, because of which the median keeps moving up. But when you actually report with integrity, this kind of a number is very, very good. Now, if you look at the branch-wise thing within BMS, for biotechnology, you actually had 17 students were placed, and the number of offers was 22. But civil, 41, 51 students had offers. Mechanical engineering, 99 students were placed, and 119 offers they had on hand. Electronics and instrumentation, 39 students were placed. They had 43 offers in hand. Electrical and electronics engineering, 41 students were placed. They had 52 offers. ECE, 130 students were placed. 170 was the total number of offers that they had. Information science engineering, 176 students were placed. 201 was the offers that they had. Computer science engineering, 164 students were placed, 187 offers in hand. Medical electronics engineering, 17 students were placed, 20 offers they had. And chemical engineering, 21 students were placed, 29 offers is what they had in hand, right? And the kind of quality of student intake, with such high intake that you have, the highest closing rank was 3,870 for CSE. For CSE with data science, it's 4,585. When you talk of 3,870, it should be 98 percentile plus, right? And same thing here also. BE at AI is 4646, highest closing rank. In the open category we're talking of, categories would be slightly different. I'm talking of open category, 2025 data, and the highest closing rank of KCET examination. ECE is 4794, and B at AI and ML is 5087. You also can come through COMET-K for students who are not from the state of Karnataka, right? Now the next one is University Visvesvaraya College of Engineering in Bangalore. It's a very, very old institution. It established much before the independence of India, 1917. So we're dealing with about 109 years of existence, 109 years. That's a massive thing, and that's why you see this old building. It's a government college, of course. The fee would be very, very moderate, 15 acres of land, 2,839 students is what they have on the campus. 65% are boys, 35% are girls, 88% come from outside the state, which is, 3% come from outside the state, and 97% students come from within the state because it's a state government college, it's a government college there. And 114 is a faculty for 2,839. So the faculty-student ratio is slightly, wonky in that sense. The intake of this college is 553 each year, if you notice that very carefully, right? And 664 including the lateral recruitment. 602 students graduated from 664, 522 were placed, 60 more for higher studies, 96% placement, and median salary is 8.5 lakh rupees. So again, when you actually have such high intake and so many students graduating, about 500 plus, you obviously would have the median salary going down, but still 8.5 lakh is a decent number to work with, right? And what's the percentage placement if you look at it? These people actually gave the branch-wise placement also. EC is 100% placement, ISC is 95% placement, CSE is 94% placement, EEE is 82%, mechanical is 70%, and civil is 64%, overall 84%. So obviously the core had fallen down, but if you look at these ones, now we're dealing with the top three, you're dealing with 96%, 90%, 97% placement. And this is between the 67% placement. Right, and the salaries also, the median salary also will come down because of this thing. But so be it. If you look upstairs now, you will actually see the placements being about 12 lakh, 15 lakh kind of a median salary for some of these branches, and then moving down further. Right. Now, what's the highest closing rank for you to get into this college? It's 5, and we're talking of KCET rank, open category is what we're talking of. And we're talking of, as I keep saying, for the 2025 merit list that we're talking of, right? 5,020 was the highest closing rank for BE Computer Science. BE Information Science Engineering is 6,502. Btech AI and Data Science is 6,502. Btech Electronics and Communication Engineering is 9,544. And BE Electrical and Electronics Engineering is 22,495. So when you deal with this, we're dealing with about 98 percentile. Plus. And then this 97 percentile. 97 percentile, and so on and so forth. This 96 percentile or something like that. So that's the kind of numbers that we're dealing with here, which means the quality of intake is so good that you need to be in the top 3 percentile of the state to be figuring out and getting admission into these courses in this particular college, right? We'll keep doing some of the other examinations also. If you want us to do any other examination and the best college that examination is a pathway for, please write to us. If you want me to cover any of these colleges in greater detail, write to me in the message box. I'll try doing that. Thank you so much. Namaste.